Hi, how are you doing? It's going great with me because it is. Oh, it's actually not going great with me because I don't want this year to end. Like it felt like it completely flew by, and somehow it's already December, which means the year is about to end. I don't want to do that. But anyway, let's talk about everything I watched in November. November was a really weird month for me. Nothing happened the way I planned it to. Still, a lot happened. And yeah, I watched a lot as well. Again, nothing that I planned to watch, basically, with a few exceptions. But it's a fun list. Timestamps are in the description. We're going to be talking about the seasons I watched and what I'm currently watching, and then the movies I watched. So if you want to go to each section, you can click around if you want. And yeah, let's begin with the seasons I watched, starting with Kim Possible season 2, which was a rewatch for me. I started rewatching the show a little while back. I don't actually remember when because it's just something I enjoy doing, just like rewatching shows I loved as a kid. And with season 1, I didn't hate it, but like I wasn't totally understanding why I was obsessed with the show so much as a kid. And now with season 2, I have to say I hated my life watching this season. I give it a 1 star. I thought this season dragged so much. It was so long. It generally is a really long season. It is like over 30 episodes. So there was a lot of it. And I feel like it doesn't do much with that time. I feel like the only compliment I can give this season is that it plays around more with fashion. In the first season, every character is always in the same outfit. In this season, especially the female characters get several outfits, and that's fun. But for the rest, I thought this was such a boring season. There were no interesting episodes in here, and I dragged my feet watching this for so long. Then I finished Extraordinary season 1, which I again talked about last month watching this. And actually finished quite early on into the month. I give this 4 stars. I think this is just a really fun show. I laughed a lot. I think the premise is very interesting. It's a superhero show. Not superhero show, it's a superpower show. There's no heroes in this, but everyone in this universe has superpowers except our main character. But I feel like our premise is so unique in a world where we're now so superheroes everywhere. I feel like this is just such an interesting thing to do with the concept of people having superpowers, and I feel like it also does really fun unique things with it. I feel like this season was a bit too short though. It's 8 episodes, and I feel like it never really gets room to breathe and sit with things, and therefore it's a 4 star to me. Because for the rest, I do think this is just like a really fun time. So much so in fact that I immediately binged Extraordinary season 2. I immediately just flew to that second season, especially because season 1 ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. So I wanted to keep going and see how things were gonna add up. And I feel like this one just I didn't like as much. I gave this 3 stars. I just feel like for me this one felt a bit dragged out too much. I feel like the overall story of this was kind of forgotten about in a couple of episodes in this, and therefore we get to kind of like the resolution in the final episode of the season, it just feels like a long time coming, where it's like, okay, we should have gotten to this a while ago because we just haven't been making progress, and then all of a sudden in like the final episode we're making a lot of progress, and just like the pacing of the season just wasn't as great, I think. And there's also like a B plot to the season that I just wasn't a big fan of, and ultimately amounted to nothing, so I don't really got the point of it in the end. And yeah, then I watched Taskmasters series 18. And again, this is what you've seen my updates all as I've been watching it as it's been airing. It's finished. And it was the saddest day of my life. I mean, no, but like it finished technically the day before my birthday, but I'm not in the UK, so I get the YouTube uploads a day later. So therefore it ended on my birthday, and that felt like a personal attack because this was a 5 star season. It was so good, and I especially love saying that because the last few seasons have been a bit of a disappointment to me. Not bad, they were definitely not amongst like the worst season of the show, and even like the worst season of the show is still like really decent TV, but I just feel like the past couple seasons were kind of a bit meh, and then this one is just perfection. Like I had a hard time rooting for who I wanted to win because I loved all of them, and I feel like all of them deserved it. This season was also just like so fucking funny. I laughed so much. It was just a really fun time. Then I got conned by the internet into watching Rivals season 1. And I say conned because everyone promised me that this was gonna be like very dramatic, very into like the ships and everything. I give it a 1 star. I really hated it. But this is like the Stockholm syndrome in me because I feel like I would watch a second season. Especially because again, this is one that ended on like cliffhanger, so if like a second season comes out, I fear I will watch it, but I hated this so much. I feel like we're a show called Rivals, and it's set in like I believe 80s television. Yeah, it's in the 80s, and it's like with rich people working for like television and like the politics behind that and everything. It's supposed to, I feel like it could have been so intense and so high drama and so like soap opera. It's kind of shit I look for. This was such a bore. Like honestly, even if I would technically give you the events of everything that happened this season, you'd be like, wow, that's a wild show. But then if you watch it, it's such a snooze fest, and I can't explain it. The next show I watch is another one that I've been meaning to check out for a while because I've just seen so many people love it. And you know, after Rivals, I did feel a bit scared, but I did it anyway. And I don't regret it this time. There's Interview with the Vampire season 1, and oh my god, where has this been all my life? I'm addicted. I really am. Like I haven't. The only reason I haven't seen season 2 yet is I know I'm gonna go in such a withdrawal after finishing that because that's it right now. I need to like physically hold myself back from that. But it was 5 stars because it wasn't obvious. It is so good, and it combines so many of like my favorite things. I love vampire shows. I love kind of like more historical. I love like historical shows, but like I feel like most historical shows and movies are like very serious, and that's not really the case with this. It's very dramatic. It's also weirdly funny. I did not predict the show to be as funny as it is. Like I laughed my ass off in so many of these episodes, especially with Lestat. Like no, he's something else, but he's fucking hilarious. And also, like, saying this all with the disclaimer that this is the first time I have consumed the story of Interview with a Vampire. I have not read the book, I have not seen a movie, so it's like my first time experiencing the story, so I also don't know like how accurate it is and anything. Moving on to the next thing I watched, which is Kim Possible season 3, which again we watch, and you won't believe it because I don't, and I give this a 4 star. I don't know what happened here, but like the magic was there, baby. Now I finally get why I love this show, because this season was so much fun. It is on a shorter side. It's 13 episodes, so compared to like previous seasons like 30 episodes, it's a big change. I generally had so much joy watching this season, just besides like nostalgic recognition, and also just think this was a better season. I feel like it was much more fun. I actually really like the way they slowly are integrating the Kim and Juan romance storyline in this season. I think that was just the way it was done just felt very natural and very real, and I liked that aspect to it. And then I also immediately flew through Kim Possible season 4, which another rewatch. I did give this one 3 stars because I liked it a little bit less. I do think that I feel like they definitely knew this was going to be the final season going into it, and therefore there's a lot of like rehashing of things that were just like one-offs earlier, which I did quite enjoy. I liked getting to see some stuff coming back that I hadn't been talked about since like the very start, so that was fun. And then there was also like some changes to like the group dynamic with Kim and Juan are dating, and then the twins also being in high school now and like getting involved a little bit with the Kim Possible, like I don't know, what does she do? Saving the world business. And then Wade actually shows up a lot physically in the season as well. So there's like group dynamics have changed a bit, and I don't also like that as well. And there was a lot of fun episodes again from premises. But overall, I just feel like something was missing from this season. Like something just felt slightly off. And I can't pinpoint what. So therefore it just like was a star less, but I still had a really fun time watching this season. And then I immediately moved on to my next childhood rewatch, which I somehow watched again a season in one day. I don't know how I did that actually, because that was not the plan, and I did actually get shit on that day. But That's a Raven season 1, like I said, a rewatch. That's a Raven has been on my list to rewatch for a while, but again, this is another one that wasn't as like massively a part of my childhood as like was a Veiled Place or Hannah Montana were. So I was a bit hesitant to get to it, but I finally just like did it, and I had such a blast with this. I forgot how iconic this show is, like honestly, because it's is kind of like a little bit before my time, if that makes sense. It's just never one that I think about as much when it comes to like the iconic Disney Channel shows from my childhood in particular. It's still just like watching this first season and be like, oh, that's an iconic episode, and that's an iconic episode, and this iconic moment already happens like this early on in the show. Like it is immediately so distinctive. Like the show has such a distinctive voice compared to like other Disney Channel shows, and this feels just like every episode truly feels like you're watching something special even now. And I don't know, it's such a fun time. I did give this season like a 4 star just because you can tell that we are getting into things a little, but it is generally so good. And like Raven Simone is like a talent, like a comedic talent, like no water. Like she's so funny. And then we get to my currently watching list. As a reminder, I have to watch at least one episode of this season in the month of November for it to make this list. So there might be shows I'm technically also in the middle of that aren't included on this currently watching list because I just didn't make progress in them in November, if that makes sense. But let's get through the list. Starting off with the shows that are currently airing, so I'm technically caught up on, but you know, they can't go in my watch list because they're not done yet. Starting off with the two usual suspects, Milo season 2, which is almost done, which is sad. They have kept filming on this, which is super sad. They did say that it will go throughout the entirety of 2025, so it will be like another year until like I'm done with it. But like it's kind of painful to know that the actors are done with it already because that really the end is a minute. But season 2 is really good. I really like it. I don't know, I'm addicted to the show, leave me alone. Then next we also have Stellium season 1, and this one I think I'm one of the only people that's still watching the show. I think it's fine, nothing offensive to watch. It's not good, but it's also like I've seen worse shows. I've sat through worse. Like talking about rivals specifically, but even like on like Prime I've sat through worse. And it's a filler of time. That's it basically. And then we have the newcomer this month, Junior Taskmaster Series 1. I was a bit hesitant going into this one because I didn't know if it was gonna be for me, if the reformatting was gonna work. But they did it brilliantly. This is such a delightful watch, and I genuinely look forward to it each and every week. And then for the rest, we have only a very short list. We have 4 other shows to talk about. Criminal Minds Evolution season 16. I'm making such low progress with this, and that's honestly because I'm not liking it. I don't think Evolution is bad. I generally think the concept is so interesting, but it just Criminal Minds already was very much out of my comfort zone, and with this new kind of like vibe going on, it's kind of completely stepped out that aside that, and like I still love the character, so I will still push through it, and I will continue watching it. And I don't hate my time when I'm actually watching it, but it's like I drag my feet so much to actually click play on an episode, so we'll see where that goes. Then I'm also rewatching Ties Anubis season 1 with my mom. This is very slow moving because there's a shitload of episodes, and whenever I watch something with my mom, is always slow moving. So this is gonna take a while, but it's one of my favorite shows from my childhood. So I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say about it. It holds up. Then we have Acidic Computer season 3 rewatch. I don't count this upon my currently airing shows because these are reruns. But technically, this is also currently airing, and I'm just watching episodes as like they are being rerun. So it's also like moving at a pace that I can determine. But yeah, I'm having fun with this. I actually really like season 3. Like 1 and 2 were like not my favorite because like early seasons, I've talked about this before. Actually, computer like isn't my favorite, which I know is very unpopular. But like this third season has been like a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to like watching more of it. And then last you have Single Bells season 1. This is a Christmas show. It's Flemish, and it got dropped on streams in November. And my mom and I started watching this, and we really like it. I still really like it. I think we're almost done with it technically. I think we only have a few episodes left, but we watch it through like our Chromebox, and that started like malfunction. It's not working properly and it's like loading really slowly, so we haven't gotten around to finishing it yet. And yeah, that's all I'm currently watching. So let's go on to the movies I watched this month, which is a very eclectic bunch. Like none of these match the same vibes, but it's a fun one. Starting off with Country Bandages, which came out in 2012 and was a rewatch. I give 2 stars to this one. I'm making my way to the country movies, as you might know. I don't actually know if I'm gonna be able to get that done before the new movie comes out because I'm making very slow progress with this. In November, I only watched 1 country movie when I should have watched 2 according to my own plan. But oh well. This is my least favorite of the ones though. Still is. I really don't like it. I do have to say that it is funnier than I remember from watching it last time. But in general, I just think like the messaging of this movie is like all over the place, and I don't think some of the morals it's trying to teach is necessarily good morals to teach to children, especially because it is a children's movie first and foremost. Then I watched Woman of the Hour, which went in 2023, and I gave 4 stars. This is actually one I wanted to watch last month and I just didn't get around to, so I just watched it in November. And I really liked it. I don't love it just for the simple fact that again I feel like just something is missing that I can't put my finger on. That is just no, there's just a piece of it that just feels like it's missing, but I feel like it is a very compelling movie. I think the story is told really well. I like the focus on like victims. I feel like oftentimes when it comes to to I can't talk. When it comes to true crime cases, that's not often a thing that, sadly enough, the focus is upon, and I feel like the way that's done in this movie is actually pretty well done. And next we have Hot Frosty, which comes in 2024, and I give 2 stars to. I wanted to like this one just because the premise was sounded so ridiculous, but I have found over the years when it comes to books, movies, TV shows, whatever, I don't like it when a romance is based upon this one character basically teaching this other character how to live. I don't like that, but it just always gives me such a massive ache, and I hate it the way that was executed in this movie as well. But for the rest, it's quite a fun time. And that's something that doesn't really bother you typically in these types of movies. I think you'll have a really fun time as long as you like don't mind that it's just like bonkers. For Girlfriends of Christmas Past, which was 2016 and gave 2 stars to. It is kind of John Tucker Mizrahi, but Christmas, but also kind of not. And I don't know, I feel like with these types of movies, same with like John Tucker Mizrahi, and then what's the Cameron Diaz movie called? The Other Woman. I feel like all of these movies need to be sapphic, and they never are, and it's such a disappointment, especially with this one, because actually 2 of the women in this one, like everything about the progression in this movie just feels so sapphic, and in the end, they're like, oh, let's look for boyfriends now. I thought, did I miss a part? But yeah, I don't know. I thought I had a really fun time with this one. I did have this on the background while I was doing like lots of other stuff, so it might be just me being mild because I wasn't paying a lot of attention to this. But I do think overall with like the entire conflict and the overall message and the kind of like ends coming out at the end of this movie, it feels very misogynistic. And next we have Twas the Night Before Christmas, which came out 2022. I give 1 star to. It might sound outrageous to say that I did like this less than the previous one, but at least the previous one, despite being very misogynistic towards the end, the first half of it was a fun time. This one just was boring all the way through, which sounds like a crime because I actually think the premise of this one is so interesting, but everything about it was such a bore. Then I watched Logan, which came out in 2017, and I gave 3 stars to. I know, hold your horses. This is the exact reason why I have been putting off watching this movie for 2 years. I checked the last time I watched an X-Men movies 2 years ago. It's embarrassing, I know. But I knew this one was very hyped, and I always get this way with like very popular, loved movies where I get too scared to watch them because I'm like, what if I'm like the one person who doesn't like it? And that was me with Logan. So now I'm it's, it's just confirming what I'm already scared of, so it's not gonna like encourage me to watch more movies. Here's the thing, I get why people like this. I do. I genuinely get the merit of this movie, especially within like the massive landscape of superhero movies at that time, specifically 2017, but also currently still. I feel like this is a unique project. You can say it that way, and I can definitely see how when you love Wolverine or Logan as a character so much is like a very deeply impactful movie. I already don't really particularly care about the character, and I just, for the rest, thought this movie was just very dragged out, very boring. Then next I watched Deadpool 2, which came out in 2018, and I very surprisingly gave 5 stars to. Like this one and Logan were like the 2 ones I was very scared for, and like they come back to back, so like wasn't working in my favor. But I had to watch it for like the next movie that's coming up. And I was so scared of it because I feel like the Deadpool movies are very well loved. I didn't like the first one, so I was very scared for the second one. But I ended up loving this. I thought this was so much fun. Genuinely, it has great like fun family messages to it. It is so funny, like so much funnier than the first one. Then next I watched Deadpool and Wolverine, which came out in 2024, and I give 4 stars to. This hit Disney Plus this month, so I couldn't put off watching it anymore, and therefore I also had to watch Logan and Deadpool 2 to like get up to date with things. And yeah, I enjoyed this one. Again, I watched more than I expected, especially after those 2 earlier experiences, although after Deadpool 2 I was a bit hopeful. And I generally really again enjoyed this. I do think, especially towards the ending, this one just dragged a little, where it just was like I felt like constantly it was like, oh, and another thing, oh, and another thing, instead of just like wrapping up. I was like, just like get to it. Like honestly, we don't need to like keep doing stuff. We were doing that, but I generally thought this was a fun movie. It had some great heart to it, really funny again. Then next I watched Boyfriends of Christmas Past, which came out in 2021, and I gave 1 star to. This is probably one of the most unlikable characters I've ever seen in a movie. Like, oh my god. I don't know. I don't know how they expected me to root for her at all. I also just feel like the logic in this movie in like every way does not make sense. I just think it's very poorly written. And like I don't expect great writing from these type of movies anyway. But when you have so many flaws within your story, within your character and stuff like that, I don't know if it is like even past the first draft, you know? And then lastly for this month, we kind of go back to the theme of the shows I watched this month with Kim Possible movies. So the drama, which went to 5, and I gave 4 stars. So this was a rewatch. I actually rewatched this in my adult life already, which I didn't remember. But I rewatched it now, of course, as part of watching the show. I genuinely still had a lot of fun watching this movie. I just think it works really well as like an extended Kim Possible episode, let's say. But it also is kind of a spoof on spy movies in a way, and it does that really well as well. I like how I don't know, I like how it just fits perfectly within the Kim Possible world to also be bigger and better and grander in a sense. And yeah, there we go. That is every single thing I watched in the month of November. This video ended up taking me a bit longer to film than I expected, so I hope it's also not too long for you. I don't know what it will look like cut down. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought of these movies and TV shows if you watched them. If there are some of the things you watch this month, and hopefully I'll see you around next time. Bye.